In this video, I am going to go over the checklists for the PSA, the letter, and the video. So PSA is everything besides the letter in the video contest. For your PSA, you need to make sure you have the message or the goal. This is your solution. You need to have the reasons for that. So essentially, the reasons are like the problems. You need to have 3 facts. In those 3 facts, you need to identify one direct driver and one indirect driver. You need to have data. You need to have data for a natural cause and a human cause. You need to say, what is the positive impact on biodiversity that your solution has? How can citizens take action? So this is your one thing you want them to do. You got to narrow it down to something. It's got to be a step they can take. This is not going to be citizens, you need to reduce your carbon emissions. Half the people aren't even going to know what that means. You need to tell them something like, hey, you need to take the bus when you go on a hike, or you need to carpool when you go out with friends, or something like that. You know, it's got to be something kind of simple that they can do. Your resources that citizens can visit. These can be websites. However, if you're doing an infographic and it's printed out, they can't click on that link. So maybe you need to make them into QR codes. If you need to make QR codes, here's what you do. Just search up QR code generator, and then you're going to come up with these here, and you can enter your website, and then just take a screenshot of the QR code and insert that into your PSA. That way, while people are seeing your thing, they can just scan the QR code with their phone, just like you do at restaurants now. You need to say what is their, or not appeal, you need to appeal to their emotional and ethical responsibility. So essentially, like, this is how are you going to get them to care about your problem? You need to put things in your own words. If you use information directly from the source, it has to be quoted. This is where you need to think about what's your scenario, what's your story, what's your hook? How are you going to get people interested and get them to keep paying attention? Your citations need to be in MLA. To do that, just go into the rubric and then go into MLA format. And then it's actually super simple. You just click on website and then paste in your URL here, search, and then it's going to put it in MLA format for you. You need to document your source credibility. That's your CARP test. So remember, the CARP test is going to look something like this. We're really focusing on the authority. So that is like the author and then a little short bio about them. And the R is like, do they have data? If they're not a scientist, are they quoting other scientists? And then you're going to put that on your research tracker. So remember, you should have your research tracker. Your research tracker looks like this. Your grammar needs to have less than 2 spelling errors, and you're going to build your infographic or your whatever you're doing for your PSA here. If you are doing art or a bumper sticker, you need to have a written explanation. Your written explanation would go here. If you're doing an infographic, it needs to hit all of those things from that rubric. Remember, you should have watched the final project grading rubric video. This is your rubric. This is what you're going to be graded on. Okay, if you're doing the letter to the elected official, remember, for the letter, you get 1 page, front side only. You need to have a greeting. It's kind of best to assume really formal. So dear Mr. or dear Mrs. or dear Ms. If you don't know if they're married, MS period. Or if they have a different last name, MS period. Okay, so you should probably use dear. You need an overview. Okay, so give them a lead in. Don't just start right in on data and evidence, because they might not know what you're talking about. You need to have evidence of the problem. So those are your facts. Remember, your facts need to include a direct driver and an indirect driver, and you need to have data as well. You need to have data for both human-caused problems and then the natural change that happens from the human-caused data. You need to explain the problem to them. They might not know about this. You need to tell them the solution. Now, this needs to be a simple thing that they can do. Maybe it's a law they can like start writing. They can write a bill and sponsor it. Because remember, they don't write laws, they vote on laws. So they can write a bill. Then you need to say, what is the positive impact your solution is going to have on biodiversity? How can that elected official help? What can they do? What is the goal? What do you want to come out of this? A final thank you. I love to use sincerely as my final thank you. You can also write thank you. It doesn't matter. You need to put this in your own words or quotes if you are citing sources. Remember, don't just do a bunch of quotes because then it looks like you don't really know what you're talking about, and they're probably going to go glance over your letter. The citations in MLA, remember the MLA information can be found in that final rubric, just like I just showed you in the PSA. It works the same. You need to document your source credibility, just like I just showed you with the CARP test documents. Your grammar has got to be great. You need to have less than 2 spelling and grammar errors. If you're doing the video contest, you need to have the message or goal, that's your solution, the reasons related to your topic, so that's your problems. You need to discuss how human population ties to the topic. Remember, in the video contest, they're asking, how does human population growth affect the problem? You need to have those facts, and you need to say, is that fact a direct driver or an indirect driver? You need to have data. You need to say the positive impact your solution is going to have on biodiversity. How can the people actually take action? What can they do? What resources can they visit? So if you're doing a video, you need to put in those QR codes instead of putting in the links to the website, because while they're watching the video, they can't click on the link. So you need a QR code so they can pause it and take a look at that website. How are you going to appeal to their emotional and ethical responsibility? So this is like how you get people to care about your issue. You need to have a scenario. You need to tell a story. Humans actually learn and we like stories because we actually remember things better through story. Okay, so you should be telling a story of the problem and how we can help. You need to put things in your own words or quotes. Now, it's really important too in the video, you cannot use copyrighted images. If you need help finding non-copyrighted images, I can help you. But in your video, you cannot use copyrighted images. Your grammar has to be amazing. You're entering a international video contest. You need to have less than 2 spelling and grammar errors. Your citations, again, need to be in MLA format, and that you can put that kind of stuff down here in this part. You don't have to put the citations in your video. You need to document the source credibility. Okay, so that's the CARP method. You got to CARP it out for all those things. And then you need to submit it to the contest. So you only get 60 seconds for your video in the contest. So you've really got to be mindful. And if there's some stuff that's extra to that's not part of the contest, but is part of our project that you need to put kind of down here and put on a separate page and it can't fit in your video, that's okay too. So those are the 3 different checklists for the 3 different kinds of things you can do. So PSA is everything from an infographic to a video that's not for the contest, to art with a written explanation, to a bumper with a written explanation, to a billboard with a written explanation, to a TED Talk, to a TV ad. And if you think of something else that you want to do as your PSA medium, let me know. The letter is the letter to the elected official. Remember, you only get 1 page, one-sided. The video, this checklist is specific for the video contest, where remember, if you submit to that video contest, you have a chance to win money.